The wind was loud, the snow was heavy, everything was white. There was no sky, no sun, no sound, only the storm. A woman ran through the deep snow, holding something close to her chest. Her feet were bare, her skin turning purple from the cold. Her body shook with every step. Her name was Nari, and in her arms was her daughter Lena, just 5 years old. Lena's eyes were closed. She was not speaking. Her small body was freezing. "Stay with me," Nari whispered, her voice shaking. "We're almost there." But there was no there. Their spaceship had crashed 3 days ago. Food was gone. The shelter was broken. No signal, no help, only cold and death. Nari looked around. The sky was white. The ground was white. The air was full of snowflakes that cut her face like tiny knives. Her legs gave up, and she fell into the snow, holding Lena tight. "No," she cried softly. "Not now." Lena's eyes opened a little. Her lips were blue. "Mama," she whispered. "I'm cold." Nari looked down at her daughter. She had no more strength, no more ideas. But one thing she could still give. Slowly Nari started removing her own clothes. Her hands were shaking, skin almost frozen, but she did not stop. She took off her jacket, her shirt. She wrapped them around her daughter, then her pants. She wrapped Lena tighter. Her skin was now touching the cold wind. It burned like fire, but she didn't care. "You live even if I don't," she whispered. She held her daughter close, pressing her body for warmth. Snow fell on them like a blanket. Nari could no longer feel her fingers. And then silence. A few minutes passed. A few more. The wind moved, and then a sound, a step, crunching snow. That something was moving. A figure appeared in the snowstorm, tall, slow, not a machine, not an alien, a man, a human man. He wore only a simple coat and boots, no helmet, no oxygen mask, no special suit. He should be frozen like a statue, but he walked calmly, looking at the snow like he knew it. He saw the two bodies lying together. The child was covered in clothes, the mother bear nearly blue. He walked to them, knelt down. He checked the child's breath. "Still alive," he said quietly. Then he looked at Nari. He touched her wrist. Still warm, barely. He looked around, then took a strange tool from his belt. He pressed it into the snow, and a small flame came out. In seconds, he had a fire, small but hot. He picked up Nari and Lena and placed them near the flame. He took off his own coat and covered both of them. Nari opened her eyes just a little. She saw him. His face was calm, eyes dark, hair wet from snow. She tried to speak. He smiled a little. "Easy. Don't speak, you're lucky. I found you." She looked confused. "Human, yes," he said. "From Earth." "You from Veganin," she said. "Why are you here?" He didn't answer. He just looked at the fire. "You'll live, both of you." Lena moved. Her body felt warm now. She whispered, "Mama." Nari cried softly. "I'm here, baby. I'm here." The man stood up and looked at the sky. "It's not safe here," he said. "We move soon." He took something out of his bag and gave it to Nari. "A small drink. Drink this. It will help your body recover." Nari looked at him. "Why are you helping us?" He didn't answer. He just said, "Because you're not dead yet." He turned back to the storm and stared at it, as if watching something far away. Nari held Lena tighter. She looked at the fire, then at the man. There were too many questions, but one thing was clear. They were not alone anymore. And maybe, just maybe, they had a chance. The fire burned low, but it was enough. Nari sat close to it, holding Lena in her arms. The girl was warmer now, breathing steady. Her small hands moved slightly, and that gave Nari hope, but her eyes kept going back to the man. The stranger stood at the edge of the light, half in shadow. Snowflakes landed on his shoulders, but he didn't move. He didn't shiver. He just stared into the storm, like he was waiting for something. He hadn't told her his name. He hadn't asked for hers. He just helped, built fire, gave them his coat, and now stood silently, watching the white world as if it was speaking. To him, Nari finally spoke, her voice still weak. "You're human. But how are you here?" The man turned slowly. "I came long before your ship crashed," he said. "I live here now." Nari blinked. "That's not possible. This planet is death." He stepped forward. His face looked young, but his eyes were old, deep, tired. "Death is different for me," he said simply. Then he knelt by the fire, looked at Lena. "She'll be okay, but we need shelter. The cold is coming back." Nari nodded. "There's a cave nearby. I saw it while searching for help." "Good," he said. "When she's strong enough, we move." He pulled something from his belt, a small silver orb. He pressed it, and it projected a map in the air, holographic and glowing. "This is the area," he explained. "I've mapped the land. That cave, it's not empty." Nari looked up alarmed. "What do you mean?" "Something else lives there. It's not friendly." She swallowed hard. "But we can't stay out here," the man added. "We'll deal with it when the time comes." Nari studied him, his calm voice, his steady hands, his strange tech. She asked the question burning in her heart. "What are you?" The man smiled, just a little. "I'm human," he said, "but not like others." His voice was quiet but carried power. Not pride, not fear, just truth. He pulled up his sleeve. Nari leaned forward, his arm. It wasn't normal. There were lines, like light under his skin, not metal, not wires, but something else. Something built, not born. "You're not a robot," Nari said. No, he agreed. I bleed. I think. I feel. But I was designed to survive, sent here by Earth Command. Years ago, Nari stared at him. They left you here. They forgot me, he said. Or maybe they gave up. Doesn't matter now, Lena coughed, gently. The man turned to her. He handed Nari another warm packet emergency food. Give her this. As Nari fed her daughter, the man stood again. Storm's changing, he said. Something's coming, Nari looked up. More snow. No, he said. Something alive. Just then, a deep sound came through the air. Boom, like something big, moving under the snow. Far, but not far enough. Nara's heart raced. Lena whimpered. What is it? She asked. That man didn't blink. They call it the snow eater, he said. It follows heat, smells it. He bent down and began putting out the fire. Fast, we move now. Nari stood, wrapping Lena tighter. Can you fight it? The man looked over his shoulder. If I have to. Then he added, softly, but I'd rather keep you alive than become a hero. Nari stared at him. There was something broken in him. Something lost, but something good. Too strong. Human. He picked up Lena carefully. You can't walk far. I'll carry her. He started walking into the storm again like it didn't scare him at all. Nar. I followed behind them. The fire was out. Ahead of them. A new fear waited. But so did hope. She didn't know who this stranger really was, but in a world full of cold and silence, he was the first warm thing she had found. The cave was dark. Silent. And breathing. Nari felt it the moment she stepped inside with Lena in her arms. The air was heavy, thick. It felt like something was watching. The human man walked ahead. His boots made no sound. In his hand he held a small glowing light, soft and orange, like a floating flame. The light didn't flicker. It moved with him, like it listened. Nari stayed close behind, her eyes moving across the rocky walls. Strange markings were carved into the stone like claw scratches, but not from any creature she knew. Are you sure this place is safe? She whispered. No, the man answered. But it's warmer than outside, and it's hidden. That wasn't very comforting. But still, they had no choice. He stopped near a large rock deep inside the cave. He pressed a button on his belt. A thin silver blanket opened and spread on the ground by itself. Put her here, he said. Nara laid Lena down. The child was sleeping again, finally warm and fed. Her tiny hands curled under her cheek. Her breath was slow, but steady. Then the man pulled out something else. A small black cube. He placed it near the entrance. A light blinked on it. Then, a soft hum. What is that? Nari asked. Heat blocker, he replied. Hides our body temperature. The snow eater won't find us. Not eyes. She sat beside her daughter, watching the man as he began to build a new fire this time, with nothing but a small spark from his fingers and a strange powder from his bag. A perfect flame rose from the ground. Warm, clean, silent, but do things I've never seen before, Nari said, her eyes locked on him. I was made for survival, he replied, tossing more powder into the fire. Fire, water, energy, language, battle, even healing. Made by humans, she asked. He nodded, double quotes, but you were left behind. A pause. They said it was a test to see how long I'd last, if I'd go mad. Did you? The man smiled. Just a little, I'm still here. Suddenly, a sound echoed deep inside the cave. Click, click, dash, click, dash, click, nar. I stood up fast. What was that? The man's smile vanished. He stood to eyes sharp now focused. It's not the snow eater, he said. This is something else. He reached into his coat and pulled out a thin rod. He pressed it. The rod grew longer, glowing at one end like a blade of pure light. Nara's eyes widened. What is that? Something I hope I don't need. The clicking came again. Closer this time. Lena stirred in her sleep. Nari rushed back to cover her ears. The man walked ahead, past the fire. He pointed the light blade forward. Then silence again. A beat. Another. Then Dash had attacked a long, thin creature, dropped from the cave ceiling. No eyes or mouth, long claws. Skin like stone. It rushed toward the fire, drawn by heat, but the human man moved faster. With one clean motion, his blade cut through the air zzz, and the creature fell, sliding across the floor, lifeless. Nari stared in shock. The man didn't blink. He turned off the blade, sat down again like nothing happened. It was small, he said. A scout. They travel in packs. Nari's heart raced. More are coming, maybe, but not tonight. She looked at him, unsure if she should feel safe or afraid. You kill without fear. He looked at her. I fear one thing, he said softly. That I'll forget. Why I fight. She didn't understand, but she didn't ask more. The fire crackled gently. Lena slept, and somewhere in the cave. The walls seemed to breathe again. The fire burned low in the cave. Outside, the storm screamed across the land. Inside, it was quiet, almost too quiet. Nari sat with her knees pulled close, her arms wrapped around Lena, who now slept calmly across the fire. The man sat still, his eyes half closed, but he wasn't sleeping. He didn't need to. He was listening to the wind, to the cold, to the silence. Nari watched him for a long time, then she spoke. You don't blink much, she said softly. The Man opened his eyes. I don't miss much. She smiled a little. Is that something they taught you? On Earth, the man looked into the fire. Earth didn't teach me anything. They built me. Silence again. Then Nari asked, what was it like? Earth shifted. Not a dot. The man leaned back, resting against a rock. Bright, loud, beautiful and broken. He looked at her, as if measuring her. Do you want to hear a story? Nari blinked, surprised. A story? Yes, he said. Humans tell stories. It's how we remember we're alive. She looked down at Lena, sleeping peacefully. All right, she whispered. He stared into the fire. Voice soft. There was a boy. Small, quiet, always watching. One day, he was taken far away, to a place full of machines and wires. They opened his head. They filled his mind with languages, maps, memories that weren't his. Nari listened carefully. They told him he was a soldier, a survivor, a tool. He paused, but one day stopped following commands. He walked into a storm and never came back. Nari tilted her head. That boy was you. The man didn't answer. He just poked the fire with a metal stick sometimes. He said, the storm is the only place where machines can breathe. Nari felt a cold inside her chest. This man, this machine had no home, no mission. Number, orders. Only silence. And snow. You're not just a machine, she said. You care. You helped us. He looked up. Not all machines are cold. Not all humans are warm. She nodded slowly. Outside, the wind hit the cave again, but inside, the fire still glowed. Then Lena stirred. She opened her eyes. Mama, I'm here, Nari said, smiling. Lena sat up and looked at the man. Are you the snow soldier? She asked. Blinking, the man raised an eyebrow. Snow soldier. My mama said only soldiers can walk in storms like that, Lena said. But you're nice, so maybe you're a good one. He gave a small smile. Maybe. Then she asked, do you know any Earth stories? He nodded. Many. Tell me one, she asked, leaning forward. The man looked at Nari, who gave a small nod. All right, he said. There's one about a dog named Laika. He began to speak. His voice was calm, soft, full of wonder and sadness. He told them about the first dog in space, how she left Earth in a small ship, alone, how she looked down at her home, blue and round, and how she never came back. Lena listened with wide eyes. Was she scared? She asked. Maybe. The man said, but maybe. She was also brave. Lena leaned against her mother. I like her, she said. She was like us. Lost, but trying. The man smiled again. Yes, like us. Then suddenly the fire flickered. The man's face changed, sharp again. Alert, he stood quickly, listening. Nari stood too. What is it? He pulled out a small screen from his coat. It showed red waves moving fast. They found us. The creatures. No. He turned to her, eyes serious. Something worse. Then, from outside the cave, a deep metallic echo. Not animal. Not natural. Something built. A ship. Someone landed. Nari gasped. The man nodded. But not to rescue us. His voice was steady, but cold. They're not here to help. They're here to clean up. No witnesses. No survivors. Nari stepped in front of Lena. But why? He looked at her. Because you weren't supposed to survive the crash. Nari's heart dropped. The fire crackled once more. The stories were over. Now, the fear returned. The fire was out. The cave was dark again. But this time, not silent. The sound came first. A low humming, almost like a heartbeat. Then, the light faint red, flashing through the snow outside. A ship. Big. Unmarked. Landing quietly. The man stood, at the cave's edge, watching through a narrow crack in the rock. They're here, he said. Rescue? Nari asked, holding Lena close. No, he replied. Erasure. What does that mean? The man didn't answer right away. He pulled out a small black device from his coat. It looked old, scratched, dented but alive. A blue light blinked softly on its surface. He pressed it once. A soft tone filled the cave. Beep. Nari stepped back. What is that? She asked. My signal, he said. It was calling for help. You said no one ever came. She whispered. They didn't, he said. Until now. He looked at her with calm eyes. I stopped sending it. Years ago. But it turned on again by itself. The moment your ship crashed. Neris's breath caught. You think they followed us? I think they came to finish you. Suddenly a voice echoed in the cave. And cold. Unidentified organic detected. 2 life forms confirmed. Proceed to eliminate. Lena screamed and covered her ears. Nari pulled her close. Get behind the rock, the man ordered. Now Nari obeyed, crawling into a dark corner with Lena. The man stepped forward into the center of the cave, calm, still waiting. From the entrance, light beams cut through the dark like blades. 2 black drones floated in, smooth, round and silent except for the buzz of their energy cores. They scanned the cave, then locked onto him. Human template detected, weaponized, unauthorized. He smiled slightly. Hello again. The drones fired twin beams of blue light shot toward him, but he moved like lightning. He jumped sideways, rolled, and threw a small disc. It stuck to one drone. Boom! An electric blast exploded, dropping the machine in pieces. The second drone turned, targeting Nari and Lena. She screamed, covering her daughter. The beam fired and stopped, blocked by the man's body. He that stood between them, his coat burning, his chest glowing. He threw his glowing rod zzz, and the second drone fell, sliced in half. Silence. Smoke. Then the man dropped to one knee, his side sparked. Blue light leaked from under his ribs. Are you hurt? Nari asked, rushing to him. System damage, he said, wincing. Not fatal. He stood again, slowly. They know you're alive now, and they won't stop. Why us? She asked. We were refugees, not fighters. He turned and looked at her. Because your ship saw something it shouldn't have. She froze. What do you mean? I think your crash wasn't an accident, he said. It was planned. Someone wanted your ship off the skies, and now they're cleaning up the pieces. Nari's mind raced. But who? He looked down at his old black device, still blinking, still beeping. I don't know yet, he said, but we need answers. He reached into his pack and pulled out something that looked like a small computer round, silver, like a coin. I'm going to send a different signal now. To who? He looked at her with fire in his eyes. To the ones who built me. If they're still out there, they'll know what this means. He pressed the coin. A red light flashed once, then it was gone. He turned back toward the cave entrance. The storm had cleared, but something worse was coming. We leave now, he said. The answers aren't here anymore. Where do we go? Nari asked. He looked up at the stars breaking through the clouds. North, he said. To the crash site. Your ship's black box may still be intact. She nodded slowly. Then Lena tugged his coat. Will there be more bad machines? She asked. Yes, he said. But don't worry. He knelt and looked her in the eyes. I'm the worst one they ever made. The snow was falling again, but this time it didn't feel quiet. It felt like a warning. The man walked ahead, cutting through the frost-covered valley with calm steps. Behind him, Nari followed with Lena wrapped tightly in her arms. They were walking back toward the crash site, back to where it all began. But something was wrong. The cold felt heavier. Silence felt watched. The man stopped. He closed his eyes for a moment, then whispered, They're here. Nari looked around. I don't see anything. You won't, he said. Not until it's too late. Then a scream, not from a human. Something inhuman, loud, sharp, full of pain and hate. Lena screamed. Nari held her tight and then it came out of the snow. Fast. Forelegs, sharp back, long teeth, metal and bone. A tracker-beast. One of the machines sent to hunt escapees. Built to follow fear. It leapt straight at them and boom, the man caught it mid-leap, slamming it into the ice with both hands. He twisted its neck, and sparks flew into the sky like fireflies. He didn't wait for thanks. Keep moving, he said, breathing hard. They're not alone. They reached the crash site just before dark. The ship was still broken, twisted metal and burned wires buried under snow. But the black box deep inside was glowing faintly. He walked to it, and pressed his palm against the ice. The ship recognized his code. Access GRNTD, pulled the box free, cradling it like a child. This has proof, he said. If we can broadcast it, others will know the truth. Then they heard the hum. Not a creature, not a drone, a ship coming fast. Low. Hunting. The man turned, grabbing the cube tight. We have to go now. But before they could move, Lena slipped. The ice under her cracked. And suddenly she was gone, swallowed into a dark hole below the crash. Lena, Nari screamed, falling to her knees. The man didn't hesitate. He jumped in after her. The tunnel inside the ice was deep, narrow, sharp. He fell hard, sliding down walls of metal and frozen wires until he landed in the belly of the wreck, dark, dead, and in the corner, Lena crying, her leg trapped under a beam. He crawled to her. It's okay, he said. I'm here. I'm scared, she whispered. I am too, he admitted. Then he placed both hands under the beam and lifted, but his arms shook. Circuits sparked under his skin, and then the blue light in his chest flickered bright. His face tightened in pain. He was breaking himself to save her. The beam moved, just enough. He pulled Lena out and hugged her tight, but his body, now sparking all over, began to shut down. Don't stop, he told himself. Not yet. Then a hand reached down from above Nari. Crying, reaching. He lifted Lena up to her and smiled. I'll find another way up, he said, but his arm gave out and he collapsed to the ground. Alone, above ground. Minutes later, Nari held Lena close. She looked at the hole. No sound, no light. Nothing. Then the black box in her hand lit up. Words scrolled across the screen. I am still here. And suddenly from behind the broken ship a side panel exploded open. The man emerged, crawling out, his face covered in dust and sparks. But he was smiling. Nari rushed to him. You're alive. Still human, he said, even if it hurts. He looked at Lena, still scared. She shook her head. Not with you. Then his face changed. He looked at the sky. The ship above had found them. A spotlight turned on. Machines dropped down, blades ready, guns glowing. No more running, he said. He looked at Nari and handed her the black box. If I fall, he said, you run, and you tell everyone, promise me. She shook her head, tears in her eyes. I already lost everything once, she said. I won't lose you. The man turned toward the machines and whispered one last line. Let's show them what human really means. Then he charged alone into the fire. He ran straight into the light. The snow swirled around him like ghosts. His coat burned, his circuits sparked, and his legs trembled under the weight of pain, but he didn't stop. Behind him, Nari held Lena tight, the black box pressed to her chest. The signal was ready. The truth was ready, but it needed time to broadcast, and time was what he was buying them. The ship above roared. 4 machines dropped down, clean, cold, merciless. They landed in a circle, weapons raised. Final warning, stand down. The man laughed. No, you stand down. That he ran at them barehanded. The first machine fired, but he was faster. He rolled under the blast, grabbed a metal spike from the snow and drove it straight into the machine's chest. Sparks flew. The body dropped. The second charged. He dodged. He turned. He tore a panel from his own arm and used it as a shield blast. Deflected. He tackled it into a rock. The third got a shot in right to his side. He staggered but kept going. Blood, if you could call it that, poured from his mouth. It was blue, glowing, alive. He fell to one knee. The last machine raised its gun, walking slowly toward him. Organic acid failing. Terminate. Then a voice crackled through the man's earpiece. Signal locked. Broadcasting now. It was Nari. He smiled through blood. You lose, he whispered. Suddenly the ship above stopped moving. A red alarm blinked across its hull. Something was wrong. The black box had connected to the galaxy net. Everything, the crash, the cover-up, the signal, the attack, it was all being sent out. Live. Unstoppable, and the whole galaxy would see it. Protocol breach. Mission failed, said the last machine. It dropped its gun and self-destructed. A bright blue flash filled the air, and when it cleared, the man was still there. Barely. He was on the ground now, his body flickering with light, his skin part torn, showing the tech underneath, but his eyes were still human. Nari ran to him, falling beside him in the snow. You made it, she said. I told you, he whispered. Still here. Lena knelt beside him. Don't go, she said. I don't want to, he replied, smiling weakly. But your body, Nari began. I was built to survive, he said, but I learned to care. His eyes met hers. I was a machine, but you gave me something no one else did. Trust, she asked. He nodded. And a reason. Then his light flickered again, and his voice dropped to a whisper. Being human is not what you're made of, it's what you give, even when you have nothing left. And with that, he shut down, still smiling, still warm, still human. 1 week later, a message spread across the galaxy. A recording, a face, a voice. This is Nari, survivor of the Veganine crash. This is the truth. We were hunted, silenced, nearly erased, but one man, one machine gave everything to protect us, not because he was ordered, but because he chose to. The screen cut to a still image. The man, standing in the snow, face half broken, eyes full of fire. To the ones who built him, you failed to destroy him, because you gave him a body, but we gave him a soul. Lena placed a small stone at the edge of the cliff. On it, carved by hand, he saved us. As she walked away, the wind picked up, and for a moment, just a moment, the snow stopped falling, and the sky looked human.